Okay, so recap again what we're going to be discussing.
Okay. A very long time back, Linda Moulton Howe brings forth
Should I bring
a.
this up? Is
Oh,
this it?
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
This you could tell this was real easy for somebody back in the 50s to reprint or hoax. Anyway, I mean, it's
Is
unbelievable.
this one of the
Linda,
documents that Rick Doty gave her?
I don't know. All I know is this is a some extraterrestrial entities just to technology recover and dispose of. Okay. It looks very detailed as far as font,
Sure. It
typesetting,
looks
so on.
cool.
It, yeah, it looks awesome. In this manual is a
Is it
table
real?
of. I I I very rarely put my stamp on things. For someone to recreate this in the 80s, going back and using 1950s typeset, and then reprint the whole manual, you got to be a psychopath. I mean, look at the font and the different in the shadowing and the shadow boxing. There is a table of contents of where you take each type of recovered material, whether that be metal or biological. On one, folks, this is on the souls of my children that help me. This is too coincidental. This is in the 50s and 60s, allegedly. One of the lines to take living extraterrestrials was OPNAC BBS 1 facility. Okay. And I remember that. In 1999, a man named Major Thomas Mack writes 2 emails to the owner of a really bad 90s website called, I believe, Bible Apocalypse. And in it,
Okay.
he writes, yes, I was the project manager for Project Aquarius. I was a major in the Air Force of, special intelligence and access. And I studied the being J-Rod. We had Dan Burrish in the facility. Go find Rick Doty. He was our counterintelligence agent, which is on Rick Doty's DD 214, the military ledger that shows his where he was stationed. Go find him. He's a really nifty guy. He works for the New Mexico Police State Patrol. And yes, I do have information that can embarrass the United States government. He dies 6 months later after that email. All a hoax, right? Whatever. Okay. In his email, I pop out of bed one night. I'm like, wait a minute. His email was BBS Nowman one or something. And I'm like, BBS, where did I see Wait a minute. This is the guy that claims he is running the underground facility south of Area 51, the S4 level with extraterrestrial beings. His email is BBS in 1999's Now Man. So I go to the Linda Moulton Howe manual and I see OPNAC, which we believe stands for Operational Naval Command or Operational North Atlantic Command, and that's important. BBS, I was clueless. I'm like, and I emailed Linda Howell. I said, Linda, the manual's got the abbreviation BBS, this alleged major in his email from 1999. Before you brought out this SOM manual, has got BBS in it. I find that coincidental. So for 4 years, I have been trying to find out what this facility is. All of my intel people that pretty much know almost everything, they are stymied, which scared me even a little bit more. Finally, I called the DARPA scientists. I talked to a bunch of other people. I put it on the internet. Patrick, will you please promise me in 5 years, when I'm gone from ufology and doing something else, and somebody brings up my name, that you'll at least say that Jon Stewart always gave credit to other people who helped him, because that is really important to me. And this guy, this lady, woman, I don't know, Ambrose Adriano, writes on YouTube, no. BBS is the Bermuda Biological Station, now known as the Bermuda Institute of Ocean Services. And I'm like, wait, what? And he doesn't write me back. I asked somebody else. They're like, well, that's interesting because that station, the BBS, started in 1901. So it was there in the 50s. I talked to another military person. He said, what is the word? Logistically, having an isolated island in the middle of the Atlantic between Europe and Africa and the United States could make sense if you're worried about biological contamination and people looking at what you're doing. It would just logistically make sense to have a base in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean to bring these beings to. Now today, I find in another paper, allegedly a document that involved extraterrestrial research, where they researched marine life and marine rocks and lichen, and it's got all of this stuff. Like the ocean is also involved, part and parcel to some degree, allegedly, with alien research. The only other thing in 5 years that any military person could ever give me, what's called the bulletin board system, which was like the beginning of the internet for the military, but that was not around in the 1950s when this SOM manual was created, allegedly. So I find it bizarre that the guy that's claiming in 99 to be a project leader of the extraterrestrial retention facility has the same abbreviation in his email as this facility. And I am quite confident that BBS, which everybody from Dolan to Greer and Dr. Sala tried to figure out, including Linda Moulton Howe, this person on the internet, in my opinion, has nailed it. It was the Bermuda Biological Station.
So you're saying that this Bermuda Institute of Ocean Sciences, which is affiliated with Arizona State University,
correct,
is holding non-human biologics?
Did in the 50s and 60s.
Oh, they did before,
Did,
but now
yes.
they currently don't.
No, and I believe that was no longer used as an operational station for alleged extraterrestrials when, because we have the FOIA document in 1962, S2 and the level S4 was being built south of Area 51. I do believe that they realized that this archaic old facility built in 1901 was not going to be sufficient for what they were planning to do with these off-planet beings. The DIA takes over from the Air Force, all documented. JFK, Barry Goldwater, creating the DIA, and then the FOIA says the Biological Pathology Institute building was built at Papoose Lake, south of Area 51 in 1962. I would have to conclude that somewhere in the mid-60s, everything was then transferred to the infamous S4, S2 Alpha building. My opinion.
Got it. So you're saying it was originally at this Bermuda location, but then moved to S4 or
right
whereabouts, somewhere
right,
there.
Patrick,
okay.
Let me give you a real short history.
Do you think it's still there now, today? Where do you think these bodies are?
Oh,
today?
What 1,000,000% underneath Dugway Proving Grounds. 1,000%.
Dugway Proving Ground.
Yeah,
what is that?
Michael's Airfield in Utah. Michael's Airfield
in Utah has the bodies.
Sandia Labs. They built a massive square footage, high-tech facility underneath Michael's Airfield. Everything moved up there. There's even logistical military people that said, oh, no. S2, all that stuff has been moved to Dugway Proving Grounds. That
Who told you this?
I have literally, first of all 5 of my military intelligence leakers have said the same thing. Sergeant Michael Munoz, who was in logistics at S2. Nobody ever talks about that he came out to Jon Stewart. No, Jon Stewart's getting successful at this. Nobody wants to talk about this guy. He comes out and saying, Rick Doty's not lying. I worked at S2. Jason Sands has said, I worked at S2. These 3 men have said, it's no longer there. It's in Utah. Victor said in 08, it's all been moved to Utah sometime around 1997, 8, and 9. And Sandia Labs also has a building on that ground. What is underneath, Patrick? Credit me, I don't know. But there is
Skinwalker Ranch is in Utah, isn't it? That's interesting.
You're talking about facts and corroboration. The internet community does not like that.
All right, so
that's
look,
it. So
let me bring
this
guy
on YouTube.
Thank
you.
Absolutely. What's his name again? Go ahead, shout him out again.
It's like Ambrose. I'm a freaking hot shit mess, Patrick. Come on.
I did the same thing like 10 minutes ago and no one noticed, so don't worry about it.
Adriano. He's on my Hunting Victor YouTube channel. I put the DARPA the BBS link. He's there. We completely researched it. He is so on the money. And nobody in the military, none of these intelligence people that have helped me for 4 years, they know nothing about this. It's so archaic. This guy got it. In my opinion, this guy got
Sure.
it because when Roswell crashed, they took some bodies to Kirkland, and then they took it to Wright Pat. But Wright Pat was for metallurgy, not for biological beings. It is believed that at one point, temporarily, they went to Walter Reed. There's a crazy story that one body that was deceased was under the Capitol in Washington. I don't believe that. Do I believe Walter Reed? Yes. So the government must have said when they found the other craft, which was in my book, which is the premise of my Magdalena book, the 49 craft that they found on Horse Mesa by St. Augustine Plains was identical. The government had to say, they're coming, there's more coming, we need a biological facility. And until something
To
was
house them, yeah.
created, this marine biological facility must have had the logistical clandestineness of like Area 51. It must have had the facilities, the biological facilities to capture to examine these beings and these entities. And I believe it does all fit. And I'm just tickled to death that the internet once again helped me.